What is up guys, Karahaku here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we'll be going over the Leopardmon deck from EX-05. So finally this deck is playable and it's pretty semi-competitive. So let's get right into the list. We'll go over the Digitamas first. So for the Digitamas, we're running 4 of the Burgermon baby. So what her skill is, whenever a Digimon is played on your turn, you get plus 2k power. So you can use this to beat over Digimon that are bigger than you. Next, for the main deck, we are going to be running 4 of the Leopardmon X antibody. So this one is pretty good. It's pretty much like an evolved version of the original Leopardmon's effect. So during your evolution or main phase, once per turn, you can play a Digimon from your hand, and a green Digimon from your hand, and it will be reduced cost by 4. And then if you have the Leopardmon in your source or X antibody, you can further reduce the cost by 3 more. So the reason why it's so good with Devas is because most of them are 7 cost, and so you'll be pretty much playing a Deva for free every turn. And the second effect is when you play a Digimon, you can return one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 or less to the hand. For each of your other Digimon, you get to add 3,000 to the maximum. So this really builds up really fast, so it's really good for removal as well. And yeah, running at 4 is pretty good, just because even if you don't have the Leopardmon in your source, playing something for 4 cost less is still pretty good. You're playing a Deva for 3 costs, and since a Deva replaces itself in the raising area, it's still a pretty good value. So obviously we're going to be running 4 of the original Leopardmon. Skill is, on evolution or during once per main phase, you can play a Royal Knight or a green Digimon from your hand for 4 costs less. And then on both players' turn, whenever another one of your Digimon is played, then you can give all your Royal Knights and green Digimon blocker. So pretty good. The lineup is pretty good. I think you can also run Leomon, a bunch of Leomon with this deck, but I don't really have space for it, and so I'm not running it in my build, but you can definitely find space for it. I feel like whenever I tested with the bunch of Leomon, it makes the deck a little less consistent because the ratios are really messy, and adding more of those bunch of Leomons in the deck just makes it a little bit more clunky. Next, we are going to be running 1 of the Leopardmon Leopard mode. So on evolution, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then one of your opponent's Digimon cannot unsuspend until the end of their turn. And when attacking, by suspending one of your Digimon, you can unsuspend this one. And at the end of your turn, you can trash the top card of this card to unsuspend all of your Digimon. So if you have the blocker effect online, you can use this to reset all your blockers so that they can block next turn. So it's pretty good to set up to block against your opponent's onslaught if they have one. Next, we're running 1 Leopardmon Ace. So for each of your Digimon with Deva or 4/7 traits, you can suspend one opponent's Digimon. Then all your opponent's Digimon don't unsuspend during their unsuspend phase. This activates on both evolution and on play, so it's a pretty strong ability to have at your disposal. And on deletion, you can also delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. So pretty good for a defensive play. Keep in mind, since this ability also activates on play, and you are 7 cost, you can pretty much play it for free with Leopardmon X Antibody's ability, or for 3 if you don't have it, but that's fine. Playing for 3 is fine as well, because the Overflow 4 pretty much refunds afterwards, so it's just a really good value card. If you don't like the Leopardmon Leopard mode, you can run 2 of these ones instead. That's perfectly fine. Or if you don't like these in general, you can run Quartzmon instead, which is also another option. The reason why I'm not running Quartzmon is because I have too many green decks, or I have too many decks in general, and I don't have enough Quartzmons. So if you're not playing in a tournament setting and you just want to play Leopardmon for fun, then this is a pretty viable build. If you want to make it a little bit more competitive, definitely you can consider Quartzmon in the deck. Next, we are also running 4 of the Mihirmon from BT13. So on evolution, you can rest something 7k or less. After that, you can choose one of your opponent's Digimon, and they cannot unsuspend during their turn, until the end of the turn. So this is really good for some stuns as well. but mostly it's here for being a Deva, as well as having the inherit skill to reduce the evolution cost by 1, which makes you digivolve into the Leopardmon and the X antibody for free if you have the original Leopardmon. Next, we're running 2 of the Antillamon from EX-04. This card is pretty interesting to have. You can use it as your Digivolution, but it's going to be 4, so it's not too much value there. But so for the actual Deva lineup, we're going to be running 3 of the Kumibaramon, 2 of the Vajramon, and 2 of the Bakaralamon. So all 3 of them share the same ability, the first ability, which is on play you can draw 1, then you can play 1 Digimon with Deva and its trait with a different name from a card in your battle area or trash from your hand into an empty space in your breeding area without paying its cost. And then afterwards, for this one, it's once per turn, on both players' turn, whenever a opponent's Digimon rests, then you can draw 1. This one gains you 1 memory when you play a option with 1 or more. One or higher cost option, you get a refund 1 memory back. And this one is on your turn, when your Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon by battle, you can unspend this Digimon. Of course, the battling Digimon has to survive. So this one gives you extra attacks, this one gives you a little bit of memory refund, and this one just helps you draw. You can kind of adjust ratios as you like. I think some people actually prefer even running more of these. But early game, I think these are kind of bricky, so I want to have these starting to turn 2 onwards. Having 1 or 2 won't hurt that much in your opening hand, but opening with too many would definitely hurt a bit. But these are the main zoo cards that we're running, and I like Kumibaramon more because it just gives you more cards to draw. So there is that. All right, next for the level 4s, this is where it gets really weird because ratio for this deck is kind of wonky. Running 4 of the Togemon. On your turn, you can rest 1 of your Digimon to play a Tamer for 3 costs less. So pretty good. And we're also running 2 of the Namakemon. So these cards are here mainly just because they're 4 costs, so you can pretty much play them for free with the Leopardmons if you don't have a level 5. So this one's main phase ability is you can rest this card to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then add a green Digimon to your hand, put the rest at the bottom. So this card is pretty good. You don't want to evolve into this one in the Raising area. Ideally, you want to evolve into the Togemon, just because this one doesn't really do anything in the Raising area if you are planning to go into level 5. But those are all the level 4s running. So there are times where it might brick. It's easier to brick, obviously, because we're running so little level 4s. But most of the time, if you have your Deva chain going on, your level 3s and 4s won't matter anyway. So we are going to be going over level 3s now, running 4 of the Salamons. This one looks at the top 3 of your deck and lets you search for a Beast type card, as well as a Royal Knight. So if you search for one of the beasts as well as a Leopardmon, you can add it to your hand, which is pretty good. And Inherit skill also gives you 2k if you have Beast in its traits or a Royal Knight. So pretty good to make your Digimon beat over other things. Next, we're also running 3 Kunemon. This card is here in case you run out of Devas to play. If you play this with your Leopardmon, you can play it, rest it, search your deck, top 3, add more combo pieces to your hand, and then it doesn't matter if this dies or not. So the important thing is that it can search. It's pretty good utility card. Ideally, if you are stuck in Leopardmon, like the regular one, you want to slap it down or digivolve into this one. If you don't have a if you don't want to play your Devas because you don't want to get past turn or something, you can go into your Kunemon, search for a combo piece, and then digivolve into your Leopard mode afterwards. That lets you play another card. This time you can play level 7, so that way you can kind of maximize the efficiency of your memory, which is really good. And for the level 3s, you're also running 2 of the Digimons. This one is here to help you just stop your opponent from getting memory with effects outside of Tamers. So it's still pretty good, and you can play for free with the Leopardmon, so why not? So as you can see, the ratio for the Digimon in this deck is pretty weird, just mainly because you only need your starting level 3 and 4 for your opening hand, and then most of the time you're going to be relying on your level 5s afterwards. So it's not too important to have too many level 4s and 3s in your hands late game, just because they won't really help you that much. And since we have Mulligan now, I think having a riskier build like this is not too big of a problem. Alright, let's move on to Tamers. So next we're running 2 Mimis. So this card is pretty key for the deck because you need to have her to push out your Devas that are freshly played. If you have 2, that's even better because you can now push the Deva out with 1 and then hatch an egg for another one so that you can push out another Tamer, or sorry, push out another Digimon the next turn if you need it. Or if you can potentially play 2 Devas in 1 turn, that is good as well. And next we're running 2 of the Izzy and Mimis. So this is from BT5. And their ability is pretty interesting. You get 2 memory if your opponent has the rest of the Digimon on the board, which is not too hard. And the second effect is, whenever a green level 5 Digimon attacks, you can rest this Tamer to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you can Digivolve it into a green level 6. So this is like a pseudo green gacha deck. We're not running too many level 6s. We're running 12-ish, which is, sorry, we're running 10, which is it's a pretty high amount, but it's not going to guarantee you an extra check every time, which is why some people will run the Bancho Leomon. But I think having 10 still gives you a pretty good chance to hit into the level 6. And the reason why I'm running this is because we're running so many level 5s, you're going to be attacking with them a lot, and having extra chances just Digivolve into a Leopardmon is just good because you'll be able to play an extra Digimon for free. Almost free. Right, next for the options, we're running 3 of the Green Memory Boost. This one just helps you extend your turns. It's pretty good, helps you search for crumble pieces, and since this deck does more on playing than Digivolving, I think it's a little bit better than the training. But we are also running 2 of the trainings just because combo with Vajramon, it's pretty good. It's going to be a 1 cost to play, so pretty good. If you like the Vajramon more, you can take out one of the Kunbiramon for another Vajramon, but that's up to you guys. And last but not least, we are going to be running 2 of the Grande Sol. So this is here for removals. Mainly, this is here for the Garurumon matchup, just because they'll be able to attack a lot of times. And since they won't be destroyed by battle, we want to have another way to remove it, and this is one of the best ways. So that is it for the deck. It's a pretty fun deck to play. For those who know, who are used to building with like standard ratios, this deck might look super weird. But if you try it out, it actually works a lot better than expected. Originally, I was going with a Panjamon build just because it felt pretty strong, but it loses steam whenever you lose your stack. So I think this build is a little bit more consistent in the fact that if you lose your stack, you can still keep going, because depending on the situation, if you think you're going to lose your stack, you can keep your Devas in your raising area, so you can prepare for next turn to rebuild your stack. Since you don't need to start from scratch, you can just build from level 5. It's pretty good for that. Works out pretty well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to ask if you have any questions. I think the next deck I'll be doing is the Leviamon deck, and then last I'll be doing the Leomon deck. I think there's some other decks I have to do, but I forgot what I have to do in mind. But currently that's the other 2 decks I have on my checklist. I think Rosemon. I have to go back to Rosemon, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff in BT15 that I want to use for my Rosemon deck. So maybe I'll wait, but I don't know yet. Also for Leviathamon, also got support revealed yesterday, so I don't know. I'll probably put it out first, but we'll see. I'll do updates for them later. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to use the links down below. But this is Card Otaku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!